Hi.
Oh,
Hi,
I
yeah,
ha
I'm Brendan. I'm a gratefully recovering grey sheeter, compulsive overeater. And I weigh and measure 3 meals a day. I write them down, I hand them over to my sponsor, and I eat those meals no matter what, and I don't eat anything else no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life, along with a few others. But it is really one of the most important things in my life. I've got to say, it's the foundation for my life. And that seems strange, but I suppose, as the sponsor once said to me one time, he says, like, well, this is it's fuel. Food is fuel, huh? And I need the fuel, and I need the right amount of fuel. I don't need too much fuel, and I don't need leaded fuel. I needed, the sort of one that's going to keep me going and going to keep me ticking over in the best form and fashion, and will enable me to do what I need to do. And this program, what it does is it responds to those needs, and it gives me just what I need, and one of the great things I suppose I got out of this is that feeling of not feeling stuffed. Not saying like, not feeling stuffed. That is a great feeling, to feel like just enough, just right. And I notice now sometimes, there's some certain foods that you get feel a little bit more of this, that it's just a little expensive. And I like that feeling of just feeling that it's right, that it's the right amount. When I first got into this, I had been a number of years trying various different things. I had tried diets, I had tried macrobiotic diets, I had tried various different sorts of things. I tried cleanses, I tried various different things, and I would get down to a sort of a weight that I thought was like, fairly okay for me. And then I would visit home and my mother's cooking. And I would just go shooting straight back up. Now it would have taken me the best part of the year to get down to this sort of thing, and then I'd be straight back up within 2 months, and I'd be just like bang, it'd be there again. And I was in another fellowship, and I went to a meeting of that fellowship, and there was a person there. And when we went out to lunch, he took out a measuring cup, and he took out his scales, and he was very English. And this was at a meeting in Ireland. He was very English, and he sat there and he sort of doing this, and I looked at him and I thought, oh God, like, you could tell this guy was neurotic just from the start. I mean, I knew it before I even saw this stuff, but like now, like it was just, you've got to be joking. I mean, there are limits to this, and there's no way in hell that I'm ever going to be doing something like that. About 6 months later, I met him at a convention in another, at that stage it was in Wales, and I met him there, and I said, would you ever show me what you're doing? Would you ever just show me what you're doing? I'm just so frustrated by these sort of things of shooting up this or whatever. And he said to me, yes. And I'd been in other 12-step programs, you see, and I'd been working steps and whatever. So I thought, well, yep, we've been working steps straight away. And he said, well, we won't be doing any step work until you have 90 days back-to-back abstinence. And I was, well, okay, right, here we go. And I never binged, and I never ate more than I was supposed to eat from that day forward. But, I put some kind of sauce on the chicken that like had oil in it. Man, I'm back to day one again, right? And I'm turning around, and I didn't make the phone call. And it's kind of like, and I tell people I've got this sponsor from hell. Like, I mean, he's just like, oh God, like this English, I'm Irish rebel, and he's got English, like, oh, stop. Like, and they'd say like sort of, well, why don't you look for somebody more congenial? I'd say, no, I'm going to have to go through it. I know I've got to go through it. I may as well get it done now. And it was just one thing after another, and I was going nuts. I was tearing my hair out, and I was like running down a mountain in in China, like trying to get coverage in my phone to call him in on time, because he told me like the phone call had to be made on time. That was supposed to be the most important thing. And I'm going, I mean, the phone call is the most important thing in my life. I've got children over here. I haven't got a job. I haven't sort of paid for these things. I haven't got a phone, and I'm living like sort of, in Latin America, and you want me to phone you at the same time every day. And like, sort of, I'm worried about like sort of getting the just enough to be able to make a Skype call from one of these internet cafes to some guy in England to sort of say like the phone call is the most important thing in your life. But what was interesting about it was, it was making the phone call on time every day was the first point of order in my life ever. Do you know what I mean? Like I just spin, you know, I just spin all the time.
Left,
you know?
Brendan, 10 to go.
Oh, there we are. And I haven't even started. You know, I just spin like so. But it was like, get this point of order, get some thing of order in. And then it started bit by bit to grow. And eventually I got those 90 days back-to-back abstinence. And I kept going from there. At 8 years of abstinence, I was in the Amazon, and I had a period where I could not get some of the foodstuffs. I had presumed that there'd be plenty of vegetables and whatever was there, and fruit. Not the case. And I didn't have wheat germ, this or this or whatever. And I had 2 days until I could fly in more, get more food flown in. Yeah. And I came out of there, and I was told that it was my sponsor who said that I had lost my abstinence. Yeah. That I hadn't done enough. And I was like, I mean, I'm pretty furious. But I had a choice what to do. And, you know, immediately my head said, well, let's have a bit of this and a bit of that. We'll just have a bit. And then my head said to me, wait, if I do, I have no guarantee I'll ever be able to get back on this again. Just one bite. I have no, and I don't need it. I mean, this is the thing is, I don't miss any of that food. I really don't. Now, some days I want my son to eat some of it for me, but I don't really miss it. Yeah? And my son is much more, you know, balanced than I am. And so he doesn't, you know, I've continued on. I actually have changed sponsor, his choice rather than mine. And I've changed sponsor, and the sponsor I have now is much more flexible about this sort of things. But this is the sort of thing, you give a call, and it's fine, and it works well for me, and I'm okay with it. I believe that I have a higher power that's looking out for me. This program, I finished on this. I went to Australia. I moved to Australia 6 or 7 years ago. Maybe it was longer than 8. And when I got down there, I'm in 3 or 4 programs, and I couldn't get very good recovery in some of those other programs. It was real frontier stuff. And I have never been around where there's meetings. So I've always been much a loner. There was nobody in Ireland when I was doing this in Ireland. There was nobody in Australia really when I was doing it in Australia. And so I've really never been much at meetings. But doing the food every day gave me, I could look at it and I could say, I'm abstinent in this. And then everything else was add on, all the other programs. So if the other ones were a bit flaky out here and there, whatever, and I was feeling out of space, this one, I could monitor myself in relation to I've just eaten what I had to eat today. And, you know, I'm not the sort of person people want to sponsor because I'm all over the place. But I'm really happy with this, and I'm happy with myself now, and I'm okay being me. And that's a gift. Thanks for letting me share.